When you create rules in your various policy sets, you may run into a situation where a rule should really only be sent to a specific firewall, even though several are directly assigned to this particular device group or further down the device group inheritance tree. Normally, a rule will be sent to all firewalls assigned to the inheritance tree. This is the way Panorama is designed to work, but there's always exceptions. Let's assume I need to create a new NAT policy for the Berlin firewall. So notice I have one here under my remote office's device group for the Chicago firewall. If you examine the detail, you see it has a specific address appropriate for Chicago's ISP connection. The one for Berlin will certainly be different. Let's clone this rule as a base for their blend rule. Click on the rule to select it and click Clone below. I have a number of options I could set for the clone operation related to the destination I want the clone to go to, which rule base I want it in. The defaults are correct for me, so I'll just click OK. Here's our new rule. Let's open it to begin our editing process for Berlin. I'll change the name first. Call it Berlin Outbound. Next thing I'll do is take a look at the Translated Packet tab where the interface address will be found. When I associate this policy with the proper firewall, I'll be able to pop this down and actually find the address, and what I mean by associating with a particular firewall is actually using this target tab. This is where I can make this particular NAT rule specific to my desired firewalls. This is a clone of the Chicago rule, so you'll find Chicago is checked as the target. We want to replace that with the Berlin firewall. You'll notice as I select specific firewalls here, this any box toggles on and off. If I check any, this means all the firewalls within this device group. But in this case, we want Berlin specifically. I also have the inverse. I could go back to my translated packet and I could pop this address down and I find my new one there. And I could enter it appropriately for this. Now I click OK. Here's our modified rule for Berlin. If we scroll to the right, there's a column that shows us the targets for these policies. So we can see Chicago as it originally was targeted for Chicago. And now we see Berlin targeted to Berlin. A commit push will finalize its function, and our Berlin firewall will have an appropriate data address.